I work primarily with perfectionists, right? And so I always describe it like your C is somebody's A plus plus plus.
Yeah.
And you're constantly trying to operate at your A plus 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 because you think these things of yourself. So we need to work on that. And so it's identifying what's your persona, what's you. I tell folks, if you are afraid of it and some little part of you feels excited about it, you're in the right path. So a lot of times people, especially in friendships, sometimes what people have capacity for the season that they're in their life may not match what a friend wants out of them. And so it's like, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. They're not willing. It's like, sometimes it's just, they don't have the capacity right now.
Welcome to Comfortable Conversations. I'm your host, Jas Kirk, where we dive into the greatest gift life can offer you, discomfort. I'm now beginning to learn to say that discomfort is the way home. And through these stories, through these individuals that you'll meet in each episode, what you'll really gain is the tools and the resources to lean into discomfort. And when I say discomfort is the way home, you'll trust that you know how to go into yourself and come out on the other side a much more amazing human being, because the discomfort is the catalyst for your success and your amazingness. In today's episode, I'm extremely excited to welcome our guest, Jettana Okoye, who is the founder and clinical director of Okoye Wellness, a practice she built from the ground up to bring psychotherapy and integrative health together under one roof. Jettana is a licensed clinical social worker with more than a decade of experience. She is known for helping high-achieving professionals and community leaders develop clear self-care strategies and actionable steps towards lasting success. Jettana earned her bachelor's degree in social work from Western Carolina University and her master's degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, one of the nation's top programs in the field. She went on to complete an advanced certification in integrative life and health coaching through Duke's Integrative Medicine program, allowing her to merge traditional therapy with holistic health practices. Through Okoye Wellness, she has become a trusted voice in mental health advocacy, and particularly in minority communities where the stigma still runs deep. Her expertise spans anxiety, depression, grief, identity, parenting, race-based stress, and life transitions. When she isn't leading her practice, Jettana is also often traveling, embracing new adventures, and spending time with her husband and daughters. Everyone, I'm so honored to welcome Jettana to Comfortable Conversations. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for the intro.
You are welcome. So before we dive in, it was funny as we were like setting up and everything. I was like, look at us having a real coffee chat. A real life coffee chat meets y'all about to get 50 minutes of free therapy. And then I hope that afterwards y'all see her greatness and reach out, become a client, or just stay connected to Jettana, because the few times I've even gotten on the call, I was like, I just got free therapy, and we were just prepping, talking about mental health and all the things.
Yes. Thank you so much for letting me in this space with you.
Yes, you're welcome. So I want to really help individuals understand the power of therapy, because for me and the experiences I've had in going through to therapy throughout my life, and also having coaches, I have always found a more joyful, powerful, just authentic Jas, and every version of me I've had to unfold and embrace that. And so I do always have to say, in seasons where I'm healing, the number one priority becomes my mental health.
100%. So to me, the power of therapy is unmatched, right? Do what I do because I love it and because I've seen it. I think one of the major things is that it gives permission to exist. And I think in every other space, most people are masking to be something for their job or for their family or for whatever, but they're having to be something.
Yeah.
Whereas therapy is your space. You get to be honest. You get to say the things that you couldn't say in the meeting at work. You get to be vulnerable in ways that most people never experience or never venture to. So that permission to just exist, to be human, to sit with your emotions, to process in ways that we don't take the time to do.
Yeah, there is no judgment. Like, and there
Not at all.
genuinely is no judgment. Like, you may feel shame letting it surface, but in reality, you're freeing it.
Yes.
Like, I often, because of therapy, I'm able to allow my tears to come. I'm able to allow the trauma or the challenges, and then I look at it in a different way because I'm like, no, this is here because you've actually made space for it to arise and release. So you're actually strong enough to release it this time.
Yep. And you have the support to do so. You can fall apart. It's that permission.
That fall apart. So, okay, before we go any deeper, because now, of course, we comfortable. We're real comfortable right now. The permission to fall apart. Take us through being okay to fall apart.
Yeah. So I think when people think of therapy, most times they think, you're coming because you're in a crisis and everything is just in shambles. And most times when my clients come to therapy, they're doing great. They're excelling at work. Their relationships are going decent. It's just that they're not connected with themselves. And so everything externally is there, and they're so poised. They're so like, I'm in this space and this is who I am, and they lean into the persona.
Okay.
And so in therapy, I'm like, okay, you get 2 months. All of my clients get 2 months where you get to come in. I say you can come in whoever you want to be. But 2 months in a day, you're going to be yourself. So I want the mess. I want the honesty. I want the no makeup. I want the messy bun. I want the whole, I show up as you, how you roll out of bed. And then we can go from there. And so just having that space to fall apart too, if they need to cry. Right? You don't have to hold it together. We're not in the office. We're not in the meeting. So if someone says something that hurt your feelings, you can actually have hurt feelings. Like let's sit with that for a minute. So just, that space to just take it off. Just be you wholeheartedly.
So you made me think about when someone said to me, because I've always dealt with like wanting to be perfect, poised. Even when I first started therapy, like I was coming in like it's another meeting.
Yes.
It's another meeting with someone else. She's like, that's real cute. You've done all of this in life.
Yes.
But let's just sit in the body. When I tell you, she almost got fired because I was like, I don't want to sit in my body. Why would I sit? Who cares?
You want to pay you to sit?
What's in my chest? I want to either talk it out or explain my version. And she would always say, like, Jas, why do you need to know? Why do you need to share all the details? And I was like, the devil in the details. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about?
Avoidance.
This is why she's good at what she does. But y'all, there was a moment that my friend said, it must be heavy to have to carry all of that worry of like, you don't get to fall apart. You've made yourself up. And my aunt has also shared this to me, like, don't set the goal, the bar or whatever so high that you can't even reach it. Yeah. So this perfectionism, take us through how you actually get someone to 2 months. Show up as whatever you want to perfect, but
we can play.
And day one.
Day one is where we've already established goals. We've already said, hey, this is what I want to do. This is who I would like to be. Here's my ideal version of myself. And I've gotten an idea of like that in comparison to who you actually are and what you actually want. And that day one is then saying, okay, let's clash, right? And so it's challenge, it's conflict, it's confrontation. And oftentimes when folks want that perfectionism, confrontation is not something that they want.
Oh, no.
Right? And it's like, you're messing me up. And so it is literally confronting this version of you that you present and this version of yourself that I see. And I want to like pull that out and I want you to see this and be okay with it. And so it is that. It's a clash.
It's a rupture, a break, a
100%.
demolishing.
Yeah.
And why through the research, through your study, why is that so hard for people to see that and not want to embrace that version?
It's scary.
Yeah.
Right? So kind of like when people are in toxic situations or they continue to end up with the same type of people in dating or friendships, and they're not people that they want. It's the opposite of what they want, but it's what they are gravitating to. It's what's familiar, right? Like we are humans and we operate in kind of this cadence that we run after familiar. So even if it's messy and we don't enjoy it, I know it. And so if I'm saying, hey, I want you to present in this way that you've never done. I want you to let people see this side of you that you've never seen. It's very scary and it's counterintuitive because even like if we take it to a space of science, neuroscience, our brain does things that we do repeatedly, right? And so it creates neurons. We continue to do that path. It's just like A plus B equals this, right? When I'm asking you to show up differently, now I have to create another neuron. And so it's not just that I am being stubborn. Like my brain has to catch up to this. And the only way it can catch up is if I keep doing it. Like I have to keep practicing doing something different. I have to keep doing the thing. I have to keep reminding myself before. I have to keep reminding myself that I don't have to show up in this perfect way. And we still have years of, well, this is my perfectionist thing.
Yeah.
And so you're fighting not only in like a tangible way, but mentally, like your brain is having to essentially rewire. And so there's a lot of challenge there and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, yes, I want to be this person. Like I want to be built. I want to be this, but I got to go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
It's raining.
The muscle memory. And it's like every day you actually have to choose this.
Mm-hmm.
Or even if you think you're not making a choice, you're making a choice.
You have to make the choice, but then you also have to give yourself grace because it's this process of you're changing and you can be doing everything you possibly can on the side of like action. But your brain is also like, you have to keep doing it and you're going to have bad days. And so that's when the grace comes in of like, I reverted to my old self and now I'm trying to get back. Or, you know, a lot of times my folks will beat themselves up. It's like, you know, I thought I had gotten past this. And it's like, you had a bad day.
But that's the perfectionist in you. You're like, well, I started this path and now like, I'm supposed to be perfect at the path.
No, you just got to keep practicing. I don't need you perfect. I need you progressing. I used to have this shirt that I made for the business that said progress over perfection. And that was it. Of like, I don't need you perfect. Just moving. That's it.
Two things you said. One, I would love for you to define toxicity because I think when it comes to mental health and there are buzzwords that people throw out and sometimes people inflate toxicity with unknown and then it could be healthy but it's uncomfortable. So then they're calling what's healthy toxic and what's the reality is it's healthy and you don't know healthy.
Yes. I don't know about toxicity as an entirety, but when I was speaking about that, I was saying more like toxic relationships, or basically patterns in relationships that you know disrupts your nervous system. So people who make you feel uncomfortable or make you question yourself, or even situations that you put yourself in. That's like there's something inside of me, like intuition, I would say, that is like, this ain't really it, but I keep pursuing it. Or that could be a career, that could be a relationship, it could even be exercise space.
Yeah.
Right? That I'm trying to make myself fit into this space.
Yeah.
And that can be, so when I say toxicity, I'm thinking about it in terms of how is your nervous system impacted? And is it chaos? Are you chasing that or something different? And so I'm glad you said that because I'm not saying it as a broad thing. Yeah, but it's kind of like when you know you are in danger and you can't name it, but it's like I see some situation brewing and I can't name it. I don't know if anything's gonna happen, but I'm gonna leave. Like I don't feel safe. It's that piece of you and your body and your mind that comes together as one that's like, no. And oftentimes when folks are in a toxic space or pursuing in that way, I'm ignoring that.
Yeah.
I'm ignoring that feeling.
The danger.
This is a no.
All the signs are like warning,
Yep.
warning. Or
my nervous system, my body, everything is saying no, but I'm just going like, yep, I'm going to keep going this thing because I know it.
Yeah. And I'm willing to, essentially you're choosing that thing at the end of the thing, the person, the whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, but how does someone know? Because discomfort can feel like that.
Yes.
Discomfort can feel like danger, danger, warning, warning. We've never been here before.
So I would differentiate those from discomfort being something that you do have that physical response, like it's kind of like a body anxiety,
Yeah.
but there's an excitement as well.
Okay.
And the excitement it's like a fear and excitement meet together kind of midpoint, whereas toxicity is, I'm actually enjoying this. Like there's a level of enjoyment that's like that forbidden enjoyment. They're like, I know this is gonna crash. Like if somebody asks you, you're in a relationship with someone and you're like, would you want to marry them? I'm like, no, I never want to marry them, but I'm having fun. It's like, okay, well, if you know the end goal, right? Like you already know the destination, or, would you recommend this for somebody else? No.
Absolutely.
Like, and it's a quick, then I know I'm in a space that this is not a matter of discomfort because it doesn't scare me. It doesn't bring a degree of excitement.
You actually know
intention.
it. You know the pattern. You know the certainty of how that goes.
Yes. And the statement of, I don't know. When I hear somebody tell me I don't know, I'm like, what you doing?
Yeah.
Because you do know. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, run it back.
You do know.
You know.
Deep down. And the discomfort when you're in there says, this is scary. If I lean in, I don't actually know. Genuinely, I don't know. I'm uncertain. The path is unpaved. And I'm supposed to just step. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yes.
Yeah. I tell folks, if you are afraid of it and some little part of you feels excited about it, you're in the right path.
What does vulnerability look like in that space?
Saying yeah. It's the showing up. It's the same as like coming to therapy. That I'm going to take the mask off and I'm going to say like, okay, here's this really hard thing I need to say, and right? Like it's just doing the thing, even though I'm nervous about what happens. I'm nervous about the outcome. I'm actually tied to the outcome, and I really want it to go well, but I'm going to say it anyway, even though it risks it not going the way I want it to go. And so it's an exposure.
Baby, the way exposure shows up, you just feel like you're at a party.
You feel,
and you ain't got no clothes on,
yes.
and you're like, everybody knows, and then you're like trying to be like, no, I have my cloak on, and it's like no, you have no
you
cloak.
don't, right? That's it, right? That I'm going into something. I kind of call it like being married to an outcome. Like that's the vulnerability. So I want this situation to go how I've made it up in my brain. And me being vulnerable is me stepping outside of my narrative and saying, I'm going to do it anyway, even though it might not go how I have it in my brain. And because it scares me that it's not going to go that way, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue it anyway. I'm going to have the hard conversation. I'm going to step into this thing that I don't know if I'm 100% great at yet. I'm going to, be open to a relationship that someone gives me compliments.
Yeah.
Nice. And they're, I'm not chasing, but I am maybe being pursued. Or I'm going to be in friendships where I'm invited places and I'm not feeling like I have to tiptoe.
Like you're going from, and it goes back to going within, you're just being versus you like
forcing. You have to be something.
Yeah. So I oftentimes, through my own experience, it's like life gifts you these experiences. Yes, you have the education and the knowledge, but sometimes we want to know as a therapist, like, did you have to grow through this as well?
100%. I always if you are a therapist, or you're honestly anyone that does helping, right,
social
and
work,
holding space for people, you got to do your own work. And it brings stuff up. I'm a person that cares about folks, and I enjoy my clients and I want them to excel, but that means I have to also take care of myself so that I can hold space for them. And so I go to therapy. I've done the work. There was a time that I was really trying to figure out belonging, and that's something kind of to your perfectionism. Belonging is my ooh, do I fit in the space? You know? And so I was in Paris and I was like, oh, I'm going to go get this designer bag. And so I go to Louis Vuitton and I'm going to get this bag. And I get there and it's little agents or whatever. I don't know what's happening. And they're like, oh, you got to have an appointment. You got to come back. And I immediately felt Like when I walked in, I already felt kind of intimidated because
Yeah.
it's this designer space and you're in Paris. And like I had this persona in my head that I didn't fit that.
Okay.
And so I go into this space. They tell me, hey, you have to have an appointment. You're not going to be able to purchase anything without an appointment. I leave feeling very deflated, like, see, you don't know this because you don't belong here. You don't know this information because this is not a space for you. So super defeated. I go back to the apartment, talk to my husband, or hotel, talk to my husband about it. And he's like, you're going back tomorrow. Like, you belong anywhere. And he just says it all matter-of-factly.
So before you, I think that sense of belonging and like actually putting yourself in the space, and it's like your brain is saying, see, I told you. We didn't fit in here. Why did we make a fool of ourselves to go into this space? And it's so interesting that your husband was instantly like, absolutely not.
Yeah, it was easy to him. Mind you, in my mind, right? My mind, I call it my little mind bully, was going in like, girl, you don't know. Like, look at you. You look crazy. You look absolutely crazy going here. You didn't make an appointment. You don't know this stuff. You don't know that.
How dare you not know?
She's so mean. My mind bully, I'd be like, girl, I'm gonna punch you. And I wish I could. She's mean. And so I'm going in my head, and you have to I took a like Uber back, and I tell him, and I'm like upset.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, just whatever, you're going back tomorrow. Make an appointment, it's fine. So I go back the next day, I get what I need, and I felt really good, because it's like, I didn't really care about the item. Like, I'm not I like nice things, but they don't have to be designer. And so I get it, and I feel accomplished that I didn't lean into it, but I had to talk myself through it of like, you belong anywhere. Like, you can do the things, you can have the things. There's not a certain set of people that certain things are set for. And so that type of work, and I'm a full therapist, like full practice, been here for years, telling people the same thing to be in the same situation. And then, get back home, have to process it with my therapist, and really that I am in the thick of it too. And I tell my clients, I tell my friends, I am a professional. I am a human first and foremost. And so, I can tell you these things, and I have the training, I have the skills, I have the education, I have the experience. But I've been here with you. So when I say it, it's not, it's not because, I haven't experienced it too.
Yeah, but I also, as you were sharing that, and I think often people are experiencing this in little moments, they don't realize that is when the trigger comes. That is when the trauma happens. And then if you don't name it in that moment, and your husband being a safe space of the growth that you've seen, because younger you is probably like,
never going back. I'm
never going back. But you've created a system, and now you get to just put into practice all the work you're doing, not demolishing all the work and now saying, I'm not enough, I'm not belonging. But I think the difficult thing that I want to expose here is like, that's a great scenario of like the outcome. But I know you work with people that like that scenario, they didn't go home to a husband. They didn't go home to someone championing them to say, just go back tomorrow. They went home to their bully in their mind who said, we're never doing that again. We're only putting ourselves in spaces. Now we do know you got to make an appointment next time.
Yeah, now we got some information.
But like, they sit with that and they ruminate with that. And then they start to tell themselves the stories of other moments and experiences. And then it becomes this like, this ripple effect into every area of their life. And so I think I really would like to help that person, because it's like, I'm grateful to have someone that I get to fall apart with. And sometimes he laughs at me, and I have my friends, they'd be like, you know what, girl, it sounds crazy. Like, but
anytime I think of how to buffer those moments, right, it is establishing community. It is being able to have someone externally that's not in your head to say, hey, actually,
tell her she's crazy.
Actually, no. Like, and so having that community to go through those thoughts and be able to say, hey, this is what I experienced. But if you don't have that community, it's like, I'm going to fight against this thing in my head. It's that I'm creating that new neural pathway. And I'm going to do that by saying what is true, right? What I feel is actual to me. It is real and it is true to me, but it does not make it a fact.
Yeah.
And so now I'm combating with, here's what I feel, but what's the reality? So I feel like I don't belong, but literally anybody can go in the store. So that's the fact. Anybody can go. I feel like, I'm so stupid because I didn't know this information. Okay. There are 1,000 moments in life where you're not going to know information.
And that's
which is why we seek it, right? This is why schools exist,
Yeah.
right? This is why libraries and directories, all these things exist because people want information. And so being able to combat what is the fact versus what is my feeling, and that's not to say feelings aren't real, they're not valid, but they're not facts.
Yeah. It's the story you've created. And oftentimes I've learned to just write it. Like just write. And in my writing, I start to separate, oh, that's what you were telling yourself. But that's not like what you actually think or the work that you've put in. That's not actually the direction we're going. And we get to leave this on the paper, close the journal, and move on.
So writing, that having like kind of a tally. The other thing I like to do is like really get to know the person up here, right? So I call mine mind bully. Her name is Sheila. She's Sheila the mind bully. And I don't like Sheila. Sheila could get hit any day. I would gladly punch her in the face. But I've given her like a whole persona. What does she eat? Where does she work? What does she do? What are the type of things she says? Like, what's the little face she makes? Like, I got it. So when she's talking to me sideways, I'm like, you're like 2 feet, first of all.
You're not that big.
First and foremost, you're 2 feet. Secondly, you work at wherever. Like, I have given her a persona that I can, like, combat.
Yeah.
Because now you're not a part of me. That is my identity. You are a completely separate source.
Yeah.
And I don't like you.
Yeah.
I don't like you. You've proven to be a liar.
Oh my God. So I'm laughing because this is when you put in the work, you're able to start laughing. Where you're like,
Can you imagine?
That is the joy of therapy and the joy of the well-being, in your work in integrative health is putting into practice that when you do have joy, when you do have laughter, when you do get curious, you're like, man, people often say, I feel crazy.
Yeah.
But it's because it's that voice in the back that's like, you haven't named her, you haven't given the identity to her and separated yourself from her, that you do feel crazy. And if you don't talk it out with people, then you're just like, you and her are going at it and she keeps winning.
Yeah. And it's really that, like, therapy is that space to be able to differentiate the voices and process where they came from. I know where she came from. I know where she was established. Also have the young me in there, right? And I know when she comes out, she is like a pit bull. And I'm like, oh, no, I got this. I got this, right? And so there's that space where I can say, all right, which version of me is leading the space that I'm in, and what feeling that I'm having is causing that, right? So am I feeling sad? Am I feeling anxious? Am I embarrassed? Am I angry? Like, what's happening? And this is my feeling. This is my reality.
Yeah.
And what's the real of it? All right? And sometimes the real of it is like, this just sucks, and I'm going to have to sit in that.
Yeah. I now want to know when you do the work and you began to create the neural pathway, what does being in relation with other people in relationships begin to look like? Because I speak from the space of people who desire marriage, but they have to find their sense of belonging first. When it comes to dating, people are, well, this person needs therapy and he needs to be healed. And the first question I ask when you show up to a date, are you in therapy? Bro, can we relax for a minute? Because first of all, if you're in therapy, you know it's not easy work. So how does that sense of belonging meet desire?
Yeah, I think that's a powerful question, and it's one that I think when people are pursuing therapy, they should answer. Because I have a lot of people who are in therapy, and they're going, they're checking the list off, but they're not there, right? They didn't ever get to 2 months in a day. They still showing up and like, I'm just checking the list. And so I think it's being able to answer that question of who is it that I want to be. And that desire piece is there. Like, I want to be this person who can be open to criticism. Criticism is a big one, right? People really struggle with that. To be in relationship with people, you have to be open to criticism as well as conflict. Community is conflict. And so being able to navigate conflict, and a lot of people don't want to navigate conflict. And so being open to that, bringing it to therapy and saying, I actually hate conflict and it makes me shut down, or it makes me feel small, or it reminds me of this thing in childhood or whatever. And I would like to work through that so that I can show up in a relationship. So I can show up as a friend, I can show up as a daughter, I can show up as a parent. It's answering that and being okay with those things.
Okay. But what does it take, like, actually just showing up and saying, like, or let me take a step back. Do you feel you have clients who that light bulb goes off, or do they come and say, like, I know I'm not great at conflict, or you have passive aggressive people that you're like, bro, you just let people go past your boundaries, everything, all day, every day, the perfectionist, the people pleaser, the everything. So how does someone begin to even sit in that sense of belonging, to be comfortable to go through the conflict, open up? Like, what does conflict begin to look like? What does that openness begin to feel like?
Yeah. So in the therapeutic space is really identifying who do you think you are? Like, who do you present, but like, who do you really think you are? And a lot of people don't think highly of themselves. They think that they're not worthy. They think that they're terrible friends. They think that they're not good at their job. I work primarily with perfectionists, right? And so I always describe it like your C is somebody's A plus plus plus.
Yeah.
And you're constantly trying to operate at your A plus 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 because you think these things of yourself. So we need to work on that. And so it's identifying what's your persona, what's you. Like, what's the dirtiness about you that you want to get rid of or that you think of yourself, and how do we work through that to make it start to integrate with who it is you want to be? And then we can address how you show up in conflict, because most times I am combative in conflict and I can't receive the criticism because I feel judged. And I feel judged
defensive.
because I feel this way about myself, or someone's told me this. And so we work through that so that by the time you get to the conflict, I don't have to take it personal. I can hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I personally had to learn how to work on that. And even in business, I went to an investor panel and they shared, like, defensive entrepreneurs and founders don't grow because you're not able to see that we're actually here to help you. When we meet with you, if you sit in front of us, we're here to help you. But then also when you think about relationships, I've had friendships, and I encourage people in whatever relationship, your spouse or your partner is not the only relationship you will have. And even in friendships, uncomfortable conversations are important. It is how we repair, how we come together and say, you know what, this hurt me, or this hurt you, or I didn't like that this was said, or I felt this. And I have the compassion and capacity to hold that and say, I understand you, I hear you, and I'm not judging you. This is my perspective or whatever it is. But me and conflict back in the day was shut down, run for the hills, see you later.
But that conflict is necessary.
Avoid, and then come back and be like, everything's perfect.
Yeah, you touched on a really good thing. One, having the conflict, being willing to have the conversation, and capacity, right? So a lot of times people, especially in friendships, sometimes what people have capacity for the season that they're in their life may not match what a friend wants out of them. And so it's like, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do that. They're not willing. It's like, sometimes it's just, they don't have the capacity right now. Or you don't have the capacity right now. And being aware of that too, of like, what is my capacity?
Yeah.
A lot of times perfectionists are also, I got you, I'll be there, yeah. And it's like, you're overcommitting.
You're leaking your own capacity. Yeah.
And then people are like, well, you didn't show, you're flaking. It's like, no, I just overcommitted and I don't know how to say it because I also don't want to have conflict with you. So I'm just going to be over here until you calm down. And then I'm going to come back and what's about to happen.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I had to learn how to stop acting like nothing happened. Like, when we come back, we gonna sit and talk about it.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. Like, you even notice the people who they're not there yet, and you're like, babe, it's okay, you're not there yet. But when you do get there, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
And that like when I was growing in relationships and like love, I feel like was the greatest gift, that it made me lean into discomfort, and that mirror came and showed me to myself, and I was like, stop putting the mirror up.
Put it down.
Put it down. And it was like, no, look at you.
Yeah.
Love her. I don't need you to love me. I need you to love her. I'm not asking you to show up for me. Don't do anything, just be. And I was like, be? That's crazy.
Not fill my time and space and avoid? What? Why would I do that?
So this has been so powerful. So before we go, if there's anything you could leave this audience with when it comes to bringing uncomfortable conversations to the forefront and making them comfortable, what would it be?
I'd say a couple things. First, sitting with yourself. Like, slow down, sit with yourself, and be honest with who you are currently versus who you want to be, and being gracious to know that you can get there. And then the other thing is that capacity piece, right? Just because you can, just say it's all the time, just because you can, you have the capability, doesn't mean you have the capacity. So just because you can does not mean you should. Right. Just slow down. Like, and that can apply to anything. You could get this promotion, this job, but you know it's gonna stress you out. Not me, should. You could get into this relationship because on paper this person looks great, but you know they do something to your nervous system. I mean, you should.
Yeah.
All right. You could say yes to all the events,
but the end may see
what is it going to cost you?
Right. What is it, that journey, and then the end? If you already know the end, why do you want to write that story?
Yep.
Oh, so good. I told y'all got a free therapy session, so you're welcome. Jettana, how can people find you?
So I'm all over the internet. So my website is jokoyewellness.com, Instagram, Okoye Wellness, all the social media, Okoye Wellness, LinkedIn. And then you can call. You can email, you can text. And yeah.
Well, I'm really excited. Thank you for holding a comfortable conversation. It has been an honor to have you here.
It's been a blast. Thanks.
Oh my God, let me get a...
Yeah.
Oh, wow, y'all. This conversation felt like a huge hug for the soul. So I leave everyone with leaning into discomfort truly is the way home. So the only way home is for you to know when to go, and you have to remember you know how to heal. So until next time, lean in.